Hey guys, and welcome to another live stream. In today's live stream we are going to do a bit of a giveaway as well as a design for a website. It's going to be a travel website of sorts, but we're just going to create a hero section. And before we get started, I just want to say hey to everybody in the chat. Hey Jerry, hey Amir, hey Muhammad, welcome everybody and welcome to today's live stream. Before we get started, make sure to check out my website alexondesign.co, where all of my courses, digital design products, and private access to the Facebook group, as well as the practice files for all of my YouTube tutorials and my courses, as well as these live streams are hosted. And I'm going to be giving away 2 yearly memberships today in this live stream, so make sure to stay tuned and to follow along. And also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Alex on Design on YouTube. Make sure to follow me on Behance, and hey everybody on Behance who is watching on Web Donut, which is sort of my business page over there. And finally, we have Inception Design System, which is the biggest design system for Adobe XD ever created of its kind. And I'm going to be also be giving away 2 copies of Inception Design System today, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well. But as I said, hey everybody in the chat, and everything I'm creating you can check out on alexondesign.co. Now, before we get started, let me just do some housekeeping right here. There we go. So before we get started with the design, let me first show you what we are going to be creating today. So let me launch a quick preview. Like so, and let me switch you over. So here is the website that we're going to be creating today. You can see the text overlay on top of the video, and you can see that the background is standing still, and I also have a small hover button right here. So if I play it one more time, hopefully it's going to start working at any point. Let's test it out one more time. Let me close it and then open it up again. There we go. Because I have 2 monitors, I have these technical difficulties. So once again, you can see that the text is kind of acting like an overlay for a video, and we have this hover effect. We have these arrows which you can animate and of course add different slides with exactly the same effect. And here is the practice file for this video, and we're going to be starting with this practice file in just a second. But before we do, make sure to head over to the links in the description no matter where you're watching this. And if you're watching this on Behance, there is a source file attached there. You can check it out, you can download and follow along if you are interested. So let me explain to you the rules. The rules for the giveaway, and why I'm doing the giveaway in the first place is because I reached 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who is following these live streams, who is watching my YouTube videos, all of my shorts, tutorials, following me on Instagram, enrolling in my courses, being my student, and supporting my work in any kind of way. So thank you so much for doing so, and I really strive to provide great content to you no matter where you're located in the world. If you are from Pakistan, from USA, from France, it doesn't really matter to me. I just try to give the best content I can to you guys. So the rules are as follows. I watched some Mr. Beast videos just to see how he does things, and I want to make this stupidly simple. So we're going to be get starting with this right now. If you want to get the yearly membership, if you want to win the yearly membership on my website, the only thing you need is to write in the comments yearly membership. You can start now, and the first one to write yearly membership in the comments is going to win the yearly membership. So get started writing, and hopefully... Oh, thanks Jerry, thank you so much, man. I know you are watching all the time and following. So write down yearly membership in the comments, and I'm going to be giving the yearly membership to you guys, whoever is the first to write that down. And we're going to do the same for all of it. So Amir is the first one who is writing down. So Amir, make sure to reach out to me on Instagram, and I'm going to leave the link. Let me see where I can find my own link for my Instagram. So let me check it out right here and type it. Just give me a second because I forgot to include the link. And if you're not, if you don't have Instagram at all, then you can find me on Twitter as well. And it's the same nickname on Instagram and on Twitter. Let me leave it down in the chat. There you go. And we can get started with the second one as well. If you want to win Inception Design System, which is the biggest design system ever created for Adobe XD of its kind, make sure to write design system in the comments, and you're going to be the one who is going to win the first one of 2 copies I'm going to be giving away today. So once again, make sure to write design system in the chat, and I'm going to be giving that away as well. Make sure to reach out on Instagram or on Twitter, and I'm going to be giving that away. So let's get started with today's video. As I said, this is the practice file. So Daniel Nell is the one who won the design system. So Daniel, make sure to reach out to me on Instagram. You have the link in the chat. Make sure to check it out over there, and make sure to reach out, and I'm going to be giving you the copy of Inception Design System. And for all of you guys who didn't win, make sure to stick until the end. I'm going to be giving away once again access to my yearly membership and a design system copy as well. So as I said, let's get started with this practice file, and you can get this practice file to follow along. But if you want to use the practice file, same like in any of my previous live streams, you have to license the files. And to do that, let me switch you over right here. I use the files from Envato Elements, and these files are there just because Envato Elements, same like Adobe Stock, gives you unlimited possibilities with photos, with videos, and all of these things. So as I said, I like to license things from these 2 websites. And for this particular live stream, I just use Envato Elements. And here you can see it's super simple collection. All I have is 2 videos, and I have this logo, which I'm going to be end up using in this particular design. So once again, if you want to use the design from this live stream in your commercial work, with your work with clients or any of that sort, and especially if you want to show it in your portfolio, you have to license these elements which I'm sharing in today's video and in the practice file. So let me get this out of the way so it's not bothering us. And this is the practice file for today. Let me hide myself just so you can see it a bit better. There we go. And what we have right here, we have some basic character styles, we have some components, we have some colors right here. So we have this image, we have Africa image, which I forgot to turn off basically, which is a component. So I'm going to get rid of it right here, and I'm going to keep just this image. And we have arrows left and right, we have some icons for social media, and we have our logo, and finally we have our video right here, which we are going to use. So here under colors, you can see white, almost black, we have one gradient, and we have other gradient, and I'm going to show you why we have these 2 gradients in just a second. But first of all, if I drag and drop this video inside, there we go, everything went black for a second because of my recording gear. And if I switch you over to the preview, there we go, nothing really happens, and that's because we have to set it up, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But basically, here is how that video looks like. Camera is going to stay almost perfectly still. All of these elements are going to go from left to right and move out of the frame, and we are going to overlay the text Africa on top. Of course, as I said, you can use any kind of text that you want. I just used this one because I found an example online on Dribble which I really liked, and I'm going to show you this one. But of course, you can expand and add additional slides. But the trouble with this is I need an image without any elephants in the background. So if I show you the original example, there we go. You can see that the elephants are moving, but this image is staying still. So how to achieve that? It's super simple. Simply open up the Photoshop and open up these elephants, this video of elephants, and you can scrub through and see right here on the scrubber. And every time you drop a video in Photoshop, it's going to show you the scrubber. So don't worry if you don't see it at all. And you can scrub all the way to the back. I think somewhere around here I found the frame without any elephants. There we go. But we have this frame of this bird. So what you can do is use the rectangular marquee tool, make sure to select it, make sure that video is selected, and then hit Shift F5. And what that's going to do is bring the content aware fill, and you can simply hit OK, and it's going to do the best job it can just to fill that rectangle in. And if I zoom in just a touch, you can see that it did pretty okay job, I think. So from here, what you can do is go to the file, export, quick export as PNG, or you can save it right here in your library and then open up that file in your library. So you can see this is the library from one of my previous live streams. You can simply save it right here to this library, and I can click add elements. I can add graphic or extract from image. You can do whatever you want, but let's go with graphic, for example, and just give it a second because I have few of these options loaded up. There we go. I think it's finished. It is. And there we go. We have this layer. But the trouble with this approach is it added the first frame. So let's get rid of it. There we go. And I will have to switch it off to this frame and then cut it off right here. And then I can do that. So what I can do is simply cut it off right to here. There we go. And I can do the same right around here, like so. And if I switch it over right around here at the beginning and then zoom in a little bit, there we go. I can switch it over right around here maybe and move my scrubber right there. There we go. And now all I have is this bird in the background. So what I can do is come right here where it says graphic, and it should add right now. There we go. It added it, and I can go ahead and close Photoshop. I can hit no. There we go. And in just a second, it's going to bring me back to my Adobe XD document. There we go. And because I have my document assets, I can switch over to my library. You can see I have my bank website assets, which were the assets for one of the previous live streams. I can switch to my library, and there is the layer right here. So you can use this approach if you want, or you can simply export it and then drag and drop it inside. And that's what I did. This is the Africa image. And if I drag and drop it right around here, you can see it's this same image. So let me delete it. Let me delete all of it. I just confused myself. So let me drag and drop an image from my desktop. There we go. And if I position it right here, if I unzoom it a bit, because this is a 4K video and you can see why it takes up so much space. And now if I hit Control Enter to go into preview mode, you can see this is that image that I exported. Simply go to the file, export, quick export as PNG. You're going to get this image, and then you can simply drag and drop it inside. I'm going to get rid of this one because it's a leftover from my original design. I suggest you do the same, and you can simply use this image as I explained. So to move on from here, what I can do is go to my layers panel. There we go. It's already named, but let me hit BG image, for example. And what I need right now is some overlay gradient, and I have this overlay gradient. Here it is. So I'm going to simply create a rectangle, hitting 1920 by 1080. There we go. Make sure to position it here, then here. Get rid of the border and simply click on the gradient to apply it. And from then on, you can simply go and adjust the opacity if you want to achieve any kind of result that you want. Or even better, you can switch it over right here and click overlay. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and find your background image right here. And you can lower down the opacity, for example, to 40%. There we go. And the key right here is just to make a distinction over the background image. And I want to make sure that this stands out as it is. The next step to do right here is to include some background gradients. And the key reason behind that is because the sky here is almost completely white. And I want to avoid that because I'm going to be placing white text in just a second. And that's the key reason why I want to avoid that and why I want to include the gradient like that. So let's first call this BG gradient. There we go. And what I can do is hit Control D, and I'm going to call this one top gradient. There we go. And instead of overlay, I'm going to go back to normal right here, and I'm going to be switching it over to solid color. And I'm going to show you why in just a second. And make sure to go right here where it's the center. It's going to snap. And I'm going to apply this gradient, which is black to white completely. And I'm going to find my dark point. There we go. And I'm going to extend it up just a touch, and my light point. extend it up just a touch right around here. There we go. And I'm going to use the same one, Control D, and I'm going to call this one bottom gradient, like so, and I'm going to snap it to the bottom, obviously. But here we have the problem because the dark color is on top, white color is at the bottom. So all you need to do is simply click on your gradient right here, click on your points, rotate them a touch, and then move the white one closer to the center, roughly around here. Something like this. I think it's going to work just fine. There we go. And now we can start with filling in all of this information. But before we do, let me check the chat and see how you guys are doing. Thank you, Reese. Thank you so much for wishing me success, and thank you so much for following along. It really means a lot from you guys, and it really means a lot when I see and receive all of these messages. So let's now go ahead and get started with these. So I'm going to drag in my logo inside and make sure I snap it in the center, and let's see, to the top, shift bottom arrow 1, 2, 3 to position it 30 pixels down, obviously. And now let's hit the T for the text tool. I'm going to type in destinations. There we go, and apply Open Sans 24 bold. Open Sans is of course free font. You can find it on Adobe Fonts, you can find it on Google Fonts, and I'm going to call this one nav items left, like so, and come right here and apply the stack. There we go, and make sure this is, when you click, that it is left aligned. It is. And I'm going to make 2 more copies. Instead of this one, I'm going to say attractions. And finally, this last one is going to be tickets, because you want to see some attractions when you go to visit these places. And of course tickets, because you want to purchase tickets to visit places like a safari, for example, or stuff like that. Here, if I select my artboard, you can see that the gutter width is 60, which is the distance between my columns. And if you watched the previous live streams, you know that I like that setting. So let's go and apply that same setting right here. So 60, and I'm going to do the same for the other side as well. Thanks, Daniel. It really means a lot, and I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying the content. I try to create a content which is easy for everybody to follow, and of course has a lot of value for you guys. Let's hit Control D, like so, and inside of these ones I'm going to simply select them. Actually, let's go with this one, the bottom one, and I'm going to call it right. And I'm the big advocate in naming your layers, like so. And what I'm going to do right here is select all of them, come right here and make sure they are right aligned, like so. So when I start typing, they're going to go from right to left instead from left to right. And I'm going to be snapping them right around here. You're going to see we're going to run into some issues, but don't worry. So accommodation. There we go. Food. And finally, right here, I'm going to say about us. And there we go. And as you can see, it jumped just a touch, but I'm going to nudge it right here into place. And I can select all of these 3 items and put the logo in, oops, not there, but in the center. There we go. And I'm going to select them and justify them to the center. Hit Control or Command G, call this one nav. There we go. And now we have our navigation, we have our gradients, we have our background image, but we don't have our video. So let's deal with that in just a second. But actually, before we do, let's start typing in that Africa text. So, and actually, I don't really remember which sort of font I used. So let me find that out in just a second. Roughly around there, it will do. And instead of Open Sans, let's see what we have right here. So I think it was Anton. Yes, it was. So Anton, try to find it online. I think it's free. Let me actually Google it in just a second. Anton fonts. I think it is. Yeah, you can find it on Google Fonts, Da Font, and on Adobe Fonts. So make sure to download it. It is free. And make sure to use it if you want to get exactly the same results I do. You can see we just have regular right here. Maybe there are some other weights, but I didn't find them. So perhaps something like this. So let's go with 480. I think it's going to work, or maybe 470 just to be sure. There we go. Make sure it's from the center. Snap it in the center. And now I'm going to position it roughly around here. And actually, let's add additional text just so that you can see where we are with this text. So hit T one more time, and I'm going to say explore. And further, let's apply Playfair Display, which is another free Google and Adobe font. Explore. Be beautiful. There we go. It's from the center, and from the logo, I'm going to position it like, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, maybe. So go with something like 80. And let's adjust this to roughly around here. All of this doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, but I would really suggest that you pay attention to the distances. It doesn't have to be perfect in this case. I'm going to show you why in just a second. But before I do, let's now drag this video in. And I'm going to place it right here on the pasteboard, so outside. Position it right here, and I'm going to adjust, instead of play on tap, I'm going to say play automatically. And what we're going to do is nudge it behind the Africa text, and I'm going to position that text just on top of my gradients. Explore the beautiful just on top. So we have navigation, we have this text, and we have these two right here. The trouble here is if I select Africa and Africa video and right click, you can see we don't have the option to mask with shape, or because the shortcut is Shift Control or Command M, when I click it, nothing really happens. And that's because this is a text layer, and because text layers are editable, of course, by nature, there is really no option for you to create a mask with them. So the option for you is make sure to know which fonts you were using. Anton in this case, 470 was the size. Make sure to select the font, and you can go to the object, path, and convert to path. What this is going to allow you to do is to convert your text into editable paths. So what that means is if I double click and rename it text or Africa text like this, if I go ahead, double click inside, you can see I have now all of these points which I can edit. I can click and adjust and do with them whatever I want. But the only thing I really want is to make sure that these two are masked. So in this case, I'm going to select them, hit Shift Control M or Shift Command M, and there we go. It's just going to mask that shape. And now obviously you can play around with the positioning of your video, because in this example, if I hit preview, you can see we have slight misalignment right here with the mountains in the background and with the mountains in the foreground. So how to deal with that is simply select your video and nudge it right around here. There we go. Because in this particular video, cameraman was moving the camera slightly just to the top and to the bottom, so you're still not going to get the perfect alignment, but it's going to be better than nothing, basically, is what I'm saying. And here we can call this one Africa, for example. When I hit Control Enter to preview, you can see that the alignment is still not perfect, but it's good enough, I'd say. So what you can do in these cases is open up something like After Effects and do the video stabilization, and then you can put that video in Photoshop, export the frame as I explained, and then it's going to be perfectly leveled. Or the alternative to that is to simply find videos which are stable. But the videos of this topic, especially of all of these elements moving slowly in and out of the frame, is really difficult to find. And there are some videos on Envato Elements, there are some videos on Adobe Stock, so make sure to take a look if you are interested. And you can see, for example, something like, I don't know, India maybe, with the Bengal tiger in the center. So make sure to pay attention to the topic you're talking about and to the videos that you're using in the background. So it's really going to stand out like that. Amir says he cannot get me on Instagram. So Amir, make sure to check out the link in a chat. I posted it before, or you can check me out on Twitter as well, and you can check out my links on my YouTube channel, so you can go there in the about section, in the channel section. There are all the links there to social media pages, and of course on my website. So whatever it's easier for you, make sure to find it there, and don't worry about it, you're going to get your copy because you want it. So let's now go ahead and move on. What I'm going to do next is simply create a nice and simple button right here. So to do that, I'm just going to my rectangle tool, come right here and make sure it's 3 columns wide, something like that. I'm going to use the border color of white. I'm going to actually don't get rid of the fill color, but make sure to lower down the opacity like this, and you're still able to retain that opacity later on if you want to. So in this case, in the default state, we are going to have it be at white at 0. So btn BG, so button background, like so. And I'm going to use the text tool T and say something like explore now, but not this huge text. I'm going to be using this one, so 24. There we go. And make sure to center it like this. There we go. And I'm going to group these two, Control or Command G, call it main btn, snap it in the center, btn, like so, and it is in the center. So here we can play around with the positioning a bit more. So I can position down maybe 80 or something like that, 172 from the bottom, or 170 or something like that. So once again, because this is just a playful example, we can experiment a bit more than if this is a real website. So what we can do right here is add the arrows left and right, because remember, this is supposed to be the first slide of many. And originally I was supposed to create many different slides, but it really requires a lot of time. And right now where we are already at 28 minutes. So let's go ahead and do these arrows. So I provided the arrows right here. We have left and right. I'm going to drag and drop them inside, left and right. Select them right here and make sure to snap it in the center. Snap this left one in the center, like so. And I'm going to just make sure that it goes right here where my grid line is. There we go. And this right one right around here. So now that that's done, I'm going to group them, call them arrows, like so. And the next thing is obviously to select them, and instead of this color, I'm going to use white color because it just makes it stand out just a touch more. And you can see how it looks like so far. Obviously, what you can do is do the gradient, which is going to go on the sides if you want to, because this is sort of the style that we went to, and we need to add a hover state for this button. So let's do that now. Select the button. And let's first organize these layers. So navigation supposed to go to the top, and main button will go right here. Arrows are going to go maybe right here. And for a main button, hit Control or Command K to turn it into a component. Include a hover state, call it hover. And for the hover state, what I really want is to select the button background behind myself so you can see it. Click right here and bring this roughly to, let's say, 30%. Yeah. I think that's going to work just fine. And go back to the default state, hit Control or Command Enter to preview. When I hover, now we have this nice hover effect, but I think the outline is just a bit too narrow. So what I'm going to do in my default state is select my button background, come right here and click on the border. Okay, it's white, but let's increase it to 3. I think that's going to be much more effective in this case. See how that looks like. Yeah, button is now a lot more visible. I think that's going to be just fine, but I'm not really a big fan of these white arrows. I don't think that you can see them all that well. So let's deal with them now. And I'm going to go and apply this color to them. Right click, apply border color, and there we go. There we go. I'm going to stop right there because the design is basically almost finished. So before we move on with the design, I want to give you the opportunity to win again. So once again, I'm going to be giving away the access to my yearly membership. All you need to do is simply type in yearly membership in the chat. First one who is typing yearly membership in the chat is going to win it. And also make sure to type in design system to be able to win Inception design system. So once again, first one who is going to write those things in the chat is going to get either the membership, yearly membership, or the design system. Akram has a chat. Go ahead and ask your question. And let me see on Behance. Hey everybody who is following on Behance, I hope you are enjoying. For some reason the stream is lagging on Behance and it's going a bit behind the schedule, but nevertheless we are going to move on. Daniel, because you already won the design system, let's give some other people the opportunity to win. Akram says, when I use components, make button and use padding. I don't really understand. So Reese has won the yearly membership. Congratulations. Make sure to reach out on Instagram or on Twitter. You have the link up in the chat for my Instagram, and I'm going to show it right here on the screen. So it's this one, Alexander True or Alexander CU. It's the same on Instagram and on Twitter. Make sure to reach out and I'm going to give you the access for the yearly membership. Hey Marissa, glad you are here. And Marissa has the opportunity to win because you weren't there. If you want to win the Inception design system, make sure to write design system in the chat, and first one who is going to write design system is going to win the copy of Inception design system. Akram says, when I use icon, it does not increase character, always icon set the same place. I really don't understand what you're trying to say. So he says, when I use icon, it does not increase character, always icon is set the same place. Marissa has won the design system. Awesome, congratulations Marissa. Make sure to reach out to me on Instagram or on Twitter and send over your details so I'm able to send you the access to the design system. And it's the same for all of you guys who won already. Make sure to reach out either on Instagram or on Twitter and use Alexander CU, which is sort of my nickname over there. Let's go back to Akram and see what he was saying. So once again, when I use icon, it does not increase character, always icon set in the same place. So do you want to set the size of your component or of your icon? I really don't understand what you're trying to say here. Make button and use padding. So I really don't understand. Try to formulate your question a bit better. Get back to me and I'm going to answer your question. Let's go back to the design. So here is where we left off before all the price giving, and what I'm going to do right now, because these arrows are gray as you can see, and we applied this color which is right here on the top. The only thing which is basically left are the social media icons right here, so you can select them like so, drag and drop them inside. Oops, it went in some group, not in the arrows. We're going to nudge them outside, right? Huh? There we go. Select, hit Control or Command G, and I'm going to call them social icons. There we go. And what I'm going to do is come right here, but it says stack, increase that to 60. And because they are this light gray color, as you can see, what I'm going to do is select each of them. And of course, it's the better option for you to right click right here, edit main component. It's going to stack you right here. And inside of the main component, you can right click, apply border color, but this is not what we want really. So I'm going to click and apply the fill color instead, get rid of it, go back to my design, and you can see that now that the main component has changed the color, it's going to update it in real time. So I'm going to do the same for Instagram, apply it, and of course it's always wise to do this on the main component, and you can recognize the main component by this filled in diamond. Hollowed out diamond means that it's the instance of this main component. So every time you make that change, it's going to propagate the change to all of the instances of this main component. I'm going to select the Twitter, do the same, apply it. There we go, hit delete, and now we have our social media icons in place. And I'm going to simply nudge them right here to the edge of my grid, nudge them to the bottom, shift 1, 2, and 3, maybe 4. Yeah, let's keep it at 3 because we have the 30 right here for the distance. And the last thing I want to do with this design is simply apply the text right here. So as you can see, I told you it's going to be super simple to create. Uh, let's see what Akram says. So I make button and use padding, but when I use icon in same button and use letter and icon, always icon stays the same, it doesn't move. Where do you want it to move? I don't really understand what you're trying to say. In the same button and use letter and icon, always icon stays the same. I really don't understand. So what are you trying to accomplish with this button and with this text? Do you want the icon to scale as you scale the text, or do you want the icon to be positioned differently as the text, or do you want the icon to have the same distance as the text, and if so, from which side? So make sure to be a bit more specific because I don't know what you're trying to achieve right here, so I cannot help you if I don't know that. And finally, I'm going to simply copy this text right here, come back, hit T, paste it in, select it, and use Open Sans 18 because this one is just too large. And finally, adjust it right here, Shift 1, 2, and 3 to make sure I'm 30 from the bottom, same like this one. And with that, we are finished with this design for today. So if I launch the preview, you can see how it looks like. So we have these elephants moving in the background, we have this nice hover effect, and of course you can adjust this and bring in a bit more color, but I think it's going to be good for today. And of course you can include some hover effects for these social media icons as well. So there we go, that's it for today. If you want to follow along, make sure to download the practice file and make sure to rewatch this recording of this live stream. Congratulations to everybody who has won. Make sure to send your messages either on Instagram or on Twitter, and when I finish this live stream, I'm going to reach back to you and give you your reward. So in this live stream, we rewarded 4 people with yearly membership to my website, which is alexondesign.co, where I host all my courses, digital design products, private access to the Facebook group, practice files for all my YouTube tutorials, these live streams, and so much more. So 2 people have won that, and also Inception Design System, which is the biggest design system for Adobe XD of its kind ever created. 2 people also won it, and make sure to check it out on inceptiondesignsystem.co. If you want, you can follow me on Behance, Web Donut there. YouTube, make sure to subscribe, which is Alex on Design. And let me go back to the chat and see if I can help Akram explore how use icon and change letter. I really don't understand, man. So try to formulate your English a bit better. Reach out to me on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm going to help you no matter what, but just try to formulate your question a bit better. May I suggest that you use Google Translate, type in your native language, and whatever it pops up, make sure to send me that translation. Thank you so much, everybody who watched. Congratulations once again, whoever won these prizes today. Thank you so much for following me, and this live stream was sort of a celebration of 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, Alex on Design. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, you guys take care.